Perry's with us on all of this, the former AP chief editor for Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. On the Gaza City, move now that we get it, with, very little international support at this point, I think it's fair to say, for Israel. What does that mean, if anything?
It means the war continues, basically, with the acquiescence of the Trump administration, but very little support, as you say, not just around the world, but also among Israel's security establishment and the Israeli public, more than 70% of which would have wanted the war to end with a deal to get back the hostages and sufficing with a degree to which Hamas has been degraded so far. They all want Hamas to be gone and wiped out, but there is a certain understanding that to a degree, the army's done all it can in this mode. And what Israel's likely to face if it takes over the entire Gaza Strip in the coming months, they say, will be the need to set up a military administration, providing welfare and education and medicine, food to 2 million people who are going to be hostile, a continuous insurgency and guerrilla warfare against people who can easily get weapons and who, can get children to fight for them for, a few dollars. And continuing sacrifice on the part of Israel, not only of the hostages, about 20 of whom are believed to be alive, but also the army says 100 soldiers or more just to occupy the city, never mind the forever insurgency that they're going to face. It's very unpopular, very problematic, and seems to not have a viable long-term strategy.
Now, that said, the President Trump did have this warning. Started this yesterday, continued today before leaving for England, where he's about to land, for Hamas. And here's what he said today.
I hear Hamas is trying to use the old human shield deal, and if they do that, they're going to be in big trouble. They're going to be in big trouble. They put it out 2 days ago that they're going to use the hostages as human shields. That's something that has been done for a long time. If they put the hostages in front of them, Hamas, as protection, as they call them bodyguards, Hamas is going to have hell to pay.
Hell to pay. What do you think he means, Dan?
I really don't know. I think he's trying to scare them by being such a tough guy, but what he might not be taking into account is that these are genocidal jihadist maniacs who have a suicidal streak, and they're very, very difficult to deter. So what more can be done? Israel has literally flattened much of the Gaza Strip, has killed all these people, has demolished most of the military infrastructure of Hamas, and yet they fight on. That should tell you something. Much of the external leadership of Hamas has been assassinated on foreign soil as well. Maybe the attack last week in Qatar wasn't so successful, though we don't necessarily know. It might have been. But they seem undeterrable, a little bit like the Houthis in Yemen. So a lot of people are saying, and certainly the Israeli security establishment in Mossad and Shin Bet are saying that there are other ways to create leverage to maximize the utility of coming weeks and months.
You said, and we saw it in some of those pictures, or used the word flattened. As a final point here, let me go to the tablet for a moment. And I don't think we've shown this yet as part of our coverage. Of course, we see the map all the time here of the Gaza Strip, but these are satellite images of Gaza City, and you see from above now the destruction. Again, UN Commission report says this is genocide. That came out. But, when Netanyahu talks about eliminating Hamas, and ending this war, as you said, the way things are going, if you just read it, or you don't even have to read between the lines, this looks like it's going to go on for a while if that's not good enough.
Connell, Netanyahu basically believes they can fool enough of the people, enough of the time. And to a certain extent, until the next Israeli election, which has to be held in 13 months, he only really has to fool one person, and that's Donald Trump. Just to give viewers an idea of what's going on, Israel has said that civilians should flee Gaza City, and rightly so, going further south, in order to enable them to fight Hamas. But they've also said that Hamas fighters who want to flee with the civilians can do so as well. They don't care. They just want the city to be as empty as possible when they go in. So what this means is that this supposed last stand of Hamas in Gaza is just the last in a series. And the same people will be a bit further south in Musawi or what's left of Deir el-Balach. And you'll be hearing in about a month that the existential operation it must take place south of Gaza City. And basically, here's a prediction. Netanyahu can't go to election with this war still going on, given how unpopular it is. So at some optimal point before the war, when his coalition no longer can be brought down because elections have been set, he will declare that enough has been done, and the war will end. And the only difference between now and then is the amount of deaths, probably thousands of Palestinians, hundreds of soldiers, and well, potentially 24 hostages.
Dan Perry, as always, thank you, sir. More to come on this.